Oh. Namaste. Welcome you all for the classes on meditation. This is the 14th in the series. We are trying to explore the process of meditation as enunciated by sage Patanjali. Towards this, we have been looking at the aspect of witnessing. Witnessing means observing the thoughts plus non-attachment or vairagya, and we are trying to see how the thoughts can be klishta, that is painful, disturbing, etc., or aklishta. And why it becomes klishta is because of five kleshas: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. And these are the kleshas which are embedded deeply in our subconscious mind. And these, any thoughts that come to us based on what kind of kleshas we have, they get that vasana or color, and that's when it creates emotional upheavals and we feel disturbed. This is because Patanjali says it is because of misidentification of I-ness, I, the witness, with the modifications that are going on in the mind field. And that's why Patanjali very clearly says, Drik Drishya Shaktyor Ekatma Iva Asmita. The definition of the klesha Asmita is a confusion or misidentification between what is seen and the seer. So this is in the Vedantic context, this is called Drik Drishya Viveka. So we will try to look at this Asmita because very subtle in little more detail. Today we will have more of theory, but yes, here theory and practice, they go hand in hand, and you have to contemplate on each of these aspects carefully. So first we will begin with chanting of the sacred Om. Sit upright. You have to sit upright either on a mat or on a chair. Chest and navel up. Palms should face upwards. Tip of the thumb and index finger in contact. Gently close your eyes. Relax your tongue, nose, throat and the jaws. Have complete musculoskeletal awareness. Mind is very tricky, and we have explored various dimensions of the working of the mind. So we must know that we can watch the mind, and wherever you keep your attention, you must learn to hold the attention there attention shifts rather unconsciously. That is the problem. We don't even know we have shifted, and you can forget where you are focusing. And if you reach that stage, the mind will start wandering. And in all these things, the source is the kind of samskaras we are carrying, our vasanas we have. So first learn to be aware, be attentive. So now we shall chant the word Om. As you chant, have that complete absorption into your taking the breath in and chanting the word Om, how you are opening the mouth, closing the mouth, and are you able to listen to the word that you are pronouncing? And yes, of course, all these things are mental experiments for us. We must track this mind with great attention. You can join with me. You have to inhale and then pronounce word Om. Inhale. Om. Om. Be quiet. Feel the inner calmness, quietness. Calmness means there are no vrittis which are klista or which have afflictions. In other words, which have the colorings of or the vasanas of avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, vinivesha. we have seen raga and dvesha, attachment or attraction, and hatred. If you are attracted to something, then the vrittis will carry that, and the focus of the mind becomes difficult. Similarly, if too much of hatred is there, all the vrittis that come, they get colored with this hatred. And if the vrittis or the thoughts have this vasana of hatredness, then we will experience disturbance in the form of negative emotions. So if you want to remain as a witness, you must learn to observe these thoughts. Well, it's good to know what kind of vritti it is, what vasana is it carrying, and finally apply the principle of non-attachment. Then you will be freed from the grip of such thoughts and you can remain as a witness. Now slowly open your eyes. We will explore this aspect of Asmita in little more detail because it's a very, very subtle thing. Now, how do we know the world? You are there, the world is around you. We will take one of the main indriyas, the eyes, or organs of perceptions. We see through the eyes and we hear through the ears, smell through the nose, taste through the tongue, and sense of touch through skin. We experience the world only through these 5 organs of perception. Or just take the eye for example. One of the major indriyas, you take EYEI. So we see our first contact is this. So you see something, then the first is this physical eye that sees. So there is an object, let us say some bulb in this picture, it could be anything. That's the object. The physical eye is the first phase. That bulb is the object. This physical eye is the seer. Seen is the bulb. Just contemplate on this. Seen is the bulb. There is an outside object, seen or drishya, and that gets into your eyes, physical eye. It falls onto what is called as retina, where a lot of rods, cones, everything is there. They're all intricately connected to the optical nerve. So when you see something, that object through the physical eyes means all this. It's a very complex process. then these signals, essentially they are all electrochemical. Obviously, whatever you are seeing, the bulb cannot go in at the image. Ultimately, that is light, whatever that bulb is reflecting, that is going into this physical eye, falling on the retina. It's a complex process, and that signal goes to through optic nerve into the brain. There are a lot of regions. There are nearly 30 centers where all our vision is processed. But even in brain, it's a network of 100 billion neurons, very intricately connected with each other, and it's a huge network with unimaginable complexity. So there are a lot of electrochemical reactions take place. So this brain is very complex. There are various divisions, and each has its own purpose. But what is important is that this brain is only electrochemical. There's nothing, only if you look at the electrochemical reactions, you cannot make out that it is a bulb. There is something else, and that is called the mind, through which we are able to recognize this as a bulb. So we know that this is a bulb. Then this bulb can trigger. First thing is, from the memory we recognize this as a bulb. So it is the mind that receives the signal from all the sensory organs and integrates them. It is not just the eyes, the ears, the nose, tongue, skin, information from all of them, they are integrated. Brain is definitely essential. It has to be in the proper functional mode. And then what perceives, or what gives you that experience in the first phase, that is the structure of the mind. And so now whatever is happening in the mind is interpreted through chitta. Chitta is the storehouse of our experience. Earlier we had seen this bulb, and in the chitta that memory is there. Oh, this is bulb. So we recognize this as bulb. Please contemplate on this. You should remember, you can meditate even with eyes open. So that's what we are doing today. To understand the concepts, they have to contemplate, get convinced. In the first phase, bulb is the seen, the physical eyes, which includes all the way till this brain, is the seer. In the next phase, because whatever may be the electrochemical reactions here, they don't make much sense to us. If you take a scan of the brain, if you do fMRI and look at it, there is no bulb there. There are a lot of electrochemical things happening. Some regions will be active, some not active, something like that. But for us to know that that this is bulb, that's where the mind comes into play. So mind will be able to, through chitta, storehouse, it will experience. Then buddhi will tell you, it is the discriminating faculty, buddhi, intellect, that will tell us whether the bulb is uh, to be switched on or off depending upon the lighting condition, etc. Then again, the signal will go to mind, and mind will carry out the actions through organs of actions, karmendriyas. But the point is the mind. So whatever is happening in the mind, for example, you look at the bulb and you recognize this as the bulb, and you will also recognize this as bulb which maybe your son or daughter brought for you, special bulb, let us say. Then suddenly there is an emotion attached with that. We are only giving one example, you can extend this to any example. So a lot of emotions can come. You may feel happy that you got it, or any emotions are triggered. Now the point is, you know the emotions, you are seeing those emotions. There is a most important step. Now the mind, which was the seer, becomes seen. So mind becomes the seen. The question is, who is the seer? Right, we'll roll back. There is an object, uh, whatever it is, outside, that is the seen. The physical eyes are the seer. Physical eyes means all these complex processes are included. Then these complex processes happen in the brain. Then there are emotions which can be captured by mind. Depending upon what you see, there could be joy, anger, surprise, fear, sadness, disgust, etc. Any of these things. So this is the process. Now mind becomes the seen. And now who is the seer? That's the step which you have to get properly. So to make things clear, you see these organs of perceptions, from where the input comes into the mind, and then from the mind there is the intellect and chitta and ahankara, ego. This ahankara is I-ness, simply I-ness, because any thought, the fundamental thought is I thought. It is something to do with I amness. Any thought that comes should have this I amness. It's a very, very fundamental thing. So please understand this. The very fundamental foundation of any thought is the I thought. So that I amness should be there. So first stage, all these organs of perception become the seer. Next stage, these inner organs of perception includes the brain, of course. The mind field is the seer. The mind field includes, you know, the chitta, the intellect, and this I amness. But the point is next, whatever happens in the mind, the emotions, you can see them because I know what kind of emotions are there. I know means the question is who is this I? That is the important thing. Now that I becomes the seer and the mind becomes the seen. And most importantly, all modifications are taking place only in the mind field. All your emotions, everything is felt, are happening in the mind field. And this I, it is changeless. It is changeless. But we often mistake this seer because after this I or a seer, there is no other seer because this is the final point of the experience. Please understand. But we confuse whatever is happening in the mind field to be I. So that is called misidentification with the mind. And because of that, we succumb to all these emotions, knowing not that the real I behind all these things is something that is changeless. It is only a witness to these things, and that can come from a non attachment. So, this is what it is in other words. This is the circuit how it goes. So, to sum up, please look at here. There is an external object, and look at the stages. The seer is engaged with the world through these instruments. In the first phase, you see that 4 stages. Then senses are withdrawn from the objects, which means what? Now it has gone into the mind. So once it goes into the mind, well, the physical organs have not much to do. And in fact, even with eyes closed, you can think of a bulb or any other object. So that should be clear. So you can withdraw those instruments to the next stage. And in the next stage, mind is also withdrawn from the senses because that buddhi is able to know what you are seeing, what it is. Then finally, the intelligence is also withdrawn from the mind, and only that individuality stands alone when it withdraws from the intelligence. It just I amness. And when we reach that, we know that that is the changeless, ever free stage. And all the emotional upheavals are taking place only in the field of the mind, chitta, and intellect or buddhi. That interaction will keep generating some emotions. Again, they fall down, something else will come up. So, this is happening in and through. And as long as we wrongly identify our true I-ness or self or the seer with this seen, we cannot escape. from suffering. So if you want to be free from suffering, we must clearly come out of this misidentification and recognize that which is not changing, that which is the pure witness, Sakshi Bhava. Once we reach that stage, then you are able to distinguish the real seer from the seen. Then emotions will be there. We are not saying we should not have emotions. We are only saying that we should not succumb to emotions. If you are, because suffering becomes inevitable when we identify ourselves with this changing mind field called the seen or drishya with the seer, the drik. So we should get this subtle point and try to implement this in and through in all the phases of the life. So this drishya viveka is not just a half an hour class or a concept, but it is something to be implemented. Then you will be able to clearly see the emotions that come, and when you are able to know this distinction between seen and the seer, when that discrimination, that clarity comes, then these emotions shall not trouble. Then such a person will be freed from suffering, although he is in the Vyavaharika Prapancha, as is said. So, this is a very important concept which we should implement, and this is where great Patanjali wants to take us, and he gives a methodical approach which we will see in our future classes about the stages of engrossment or samapatti. So some of these fundamentals we should keep contemplating so that we can mature in our process of meditation and experience that everlasting bliss. We shall prostrate to this great sage who has given a very systematic approach for this complex subject. ಶ್ರೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾರ್ಪಣಮಸ್ತು ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಶುಭಮಸ್ತು.